Hello, everyone. We are back with another interview. My name is Nadia van Raam. I'm an associate instructor from the Netherlands, and I'm here with Barbara, who has the most beautiful surname ever, Solomon, and she is from Oregon. Barbara, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with me via Zoom. Um, Please introduce yourself and tell us uh, um, how did you get in touch with Reconnective Healing? How did that happen in your life?
Well, hi, Nadia. Thanks for inviting me to be with you today. And, it was kind of an interesting process, but it made sense and it was just a progression, I think. I had been involved with healing in healthcare for a long time. I started out as a medical assistant and then became a nurse and an acupuncturist. I've always been interested in more holistic healing type modalities, and this the philosophy. I got into doing Reiki and a couple other different types of energy healing. I was a certified Qigong instructor. And so reconnective healing is really just the natural next step for me. I got involved with it. I found out about Dr. Eric and reconnective healing early in 2010. And it was a time in my life that I was going through a lot of upheaval. I'd been living in Oregon for many years, since the early 70s, having gone there from Pennsylvania. And it was time for me to go back to Pennsylvania to help my mom during her end of life period. And there was a lot of kind of chaos going on in my life, and a lot of things were kind of falling apart. I went back to Pittsburgh. I didn't really want to be there. I didn't like Pittsburgh, and I never really got along that great with my mom, but it was something I felt I had to do. And it was during that time that I was kind of searching for some ways to help with my own healing. And I came across Dr. Eric and listened to a recording that he had made with somebody, an interview, and it just so resonated with me. And I just felt so drawn to it. And I knew that that had to be my next step. And I read his book and I saw the movie about the living matrix, and I was just so fascinated. So I went down and went to one of the workshops and just fell in love with it. I had my personal reconnection that weekend, and it was just so exciting. A few months later,
What made you fall in love with it?
I think it was a combination of Eric and just all the people who were there, feeling the frequencies. The energy was so strong and positive. It was really an experience that I was not prepared for or expecting, because in my other energy healing instruction situations, they were always kind of very small and quiet and very focused. And this was like a lot of people and a lot of just kind of energy generating, a lot of excitement. I actually almost didn't really know what to think of it. And when I had my own personal reconnection, I didn't really notice all that much. It was very relaxing and very calming. And I heard some other people talk about their experiences, and I almost wondered, maybe my person didn't do it right or something.
What
It was
happened?
just so interesting. It took me a little time, maybe like a few months. Maybe it was just a few weeks. It was so long ago, but it took me time to really understand what it meant to me and what it did to in my life. I was able to well, let me back up for a minute. So a few months later, I went and did a session for what they called level 3 then, which is learning how to perform the personal reconnection. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I became a foundational practitioner, and over the years, I have been offering this. it is how it differs or compares to the other types of treatments that I've done in the past. You know, I don't like to use the word stronger, but that is a good word to kind of describe what it's like. It's more encompassing, it's more palpable, you know, you can really kind of feel the frequencies.
Yeah.
And when I would offer it to people, they'd be surprised, especially people who had other experiences, like with Reiki or something. They'd be like, whoa.
Whoa.
At one point, I
Whoa.
actually almost called it like Reiki on steroids, because that's kind of what it seemed like. It was just like boom, boom, boom. It's
Oh, that's a good one, actually. I have to
yeah.
to remember that one.
Yeah, I
On
wasn't sure
steroids.
how Eric and or Dr. Eric and Jillian would think about that, but that's what it felt like to me. And I found that the results were actually really surprising. You know, sometimes people just fell asleep. I had one person who fell asleep. She thought, oh, you know, this is kind of nice. And then that evening she called me and left a message. Now I get it. Now I'm feeling it. And there were so many remarkable responses that I'd never heard of with any other type of healing modality. And you know, I'm a licensed acupuncturist, and that was mainly what I did, but I enjoyed doing the reconnective healing for a number of reasons. One, it was just very easy, totally non-invasive. You can do it anywhere. Even with acupuncture, you have to have your needles and you know, kind of a clean place to be able to do it, and you have to dispose of the needles afterwards. So it's a little bit more cumbersome. Doing the reconnective healing, it's like you can just do it anywhere and call it up anytime.
Yeah.
But I still, for a long time, just thought of it as kind of a healing thing. You know, I'd do sessions. And it wasn't until I got into the living in the frequencies sessions with you that I realized it's so much bigger. There's so much more to it.
Oh,
There's so
let's explain that, because the way we met was through a course called Living in the Frequencies that actually happened when the whole world went into sort of a lockdown.
right.
And I never ever thought ever I would do anything through Zoom, and this made that happen. And it was a 10-week course called Living in the Frequencies, where we go into a few themes that really show and really help us to understand how these frequencies are so much more than something that we can use for clients in sessions. They are something that we have available for us in our day-to-day life. Yeah, that's what what you wanted to speak about. So go ahead.
Right, right. And you know, it's interesting because looking back, I now realize that the frequencies have helped me heal on so many different levels personally. Not only was I working with clients, but you know, I mentioned how I didn't really get along with my mom.
Yeah.
Being in the frequencies enabled us to really heal our relationship. And it was just so beautiful. And like, I was with her when she transitioned, and I'm so grateful that I was able to do that and be there. And I know now that it was the frequencies that really kind of helped us to bridge whatever it was that we had between us. And
Do you have the feeling that it also made the transition easier?
oh yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
Because that's my personal experience. Sometimes the transition, you know, is a bit hard, or there is fear, there is a clinging or hanging on to life, and sometimes when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Yeah.
The frequencies do have the ability to help in a way.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And it helped me to, the weekend before she transitioned, I just in a serendipity situation, ended up going to this workshop that offered a lot of healing, and it helped me really kind of get past a lot of the stuff that I was carrying around. And then I went and talked with her about it and told her what I'd gone through, and how I was kind of forgiving her for a lot, and she was like, "Oh, great, that's good." And I know that helped to kind of smooth her way. And then she was in rehab at the time because she had fallen and fractured her pelvis, and then she just came home a few days after that, and she had been having a series of small strokes, and so then she had another stroke, and she's like, "I'm ready." I said to her, "Mom, we can go back to the hospital if you want, or just maybe call hospice." And she's like, "Hospice, I'm ready." Hospice nurse came, and then the very next day, no, it was later that day, a couple of her close friends just stopped by unexpectedly. She got calls from my aunt, my sister, my son, my niece and nephew. They all just kind of called for some reason. And then we sat down to watch the football game, and boom, it was done. And she was like, "I'm done." It's like, so you're right. It was a very easy transition, and I am so grateful for that. And again, I just feel like, again, in retrospect, it all just came together perfectly. It was so much what I needed in my life to really help me move forward in a more positive, healthier manner. I've had kind of an interesting life, but a lot of chaos. And I know that a lot of it was because of my relationship with my parents. And so the reconnective healing really helped me to heal a lot of that, not only with my mom, my dad too. I'd done a lot of that earlier, but that weekend really kind of finalized it. So I've had so much less chaos in my life since then, so much more joy and happiness. In fact, during the sessions with the living in the frequencies, one of our homework assignments was to find out from somebody who knew you in the past how you've changed since being involved with Reconnective Healing. And I asked my son, and his response was, something like, he feels that I have more joy, I'm less concerned with outcomes, just more allowing things to unfold as they will. And
oh my
that
goodness, what a blessing to hear that from your own son.
It was really nice. And, it just kind of reinforced everything that I've been kind of thinking of, and how powerful and important the frequencies really are. So at the very beginning of the COVID lockdown, Dr. Eric and the Reconnective Healing team started having some Zoom meetings and gatherings.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so much fun. I just enjoyed them. So then I went on and became involved with the Solomon Speaks program. And then when the Living in the Frequencies came up, it's like, oh my gosh, yes, I've got to do more of this. And I'm so grateful, because it really has helped me to understand just how much bigger these frequencies are than just a treatment or healing modality. It's like, it really affects and improves your whole life if you are willing to step into them and allow it.
So could you say, or at least I would say, sort of it's a consciousness, or it's a way, it's almost a way of life. It's a support for our daily life. It's a way of living. I can't imagine. These frequencies have been in my life for the last 13 years now. And of course, as you say, sometimes there's chaos in your life, but I've always seen, even if there is chaos, these frequencies have been such a support, bringing sometimes solutions, the right people, the right places, times, events. Like you said, this course you went to right before your mother passed.
Yes.
That sounds like such perfect timing. or the people who visited your mother, right? Synchronicities is,
Yeah.
you're thinking, how this is such great circumstances for this event to happen. Um, and we'd never know whether this would happen without the frequencies. But I do see that these frequencies show up in that kind of way,
Hmm.
supporting the daily life.
Yes, so much. And right now, with there's so much chaos going on around the world, especially in the US, I feel like I'm able to kind of like step back from it. I
Mhm.
can still be involved in the way that I think is a healthy way to be involved,
Yeah,
but I don't get sucked in emotionally.
yeah,
And that's huge. You know, I can still like be part of the political process, but not get all upset and frustrated about it and know when to turn it off, when to step back. And you're right. I mean, I know that it's the frequencies that are giving me that maybe offer the, when I remember to accept them. And that's something that I found takes practice.
yeah.
It gets easier and easier every day as you do it, and it gets reinforced because life becomes so easy. You just want to be able to like stay there, you know, kind of glide along. And while in the past I may have maybe felt guilty about feeling so good about life, now I've learned I don't have
Okay,
to feel guilty about it. I can accept it. I deserve it.
of
We all deserve
course,
it.
of
We all deserve
course.
it. And there's no reason why I shouldn't just be so grateful and open and accepting of my life because it is so good.
It's
And yeah,
yours.
yeah. You know, it's not that I still don't have ups and downs because I do, but you're right. The downs are so much easier to bounce back from. They're
Yeah,
not so devastating.
yeah.
And I am able to just kind of take the bounce, keep it in perspective, and then move on and find something that brings me joy.
And you know
So
what? I love how you speak with your hands.
I do
It's
that a
like your
lot.
hands are there all the time. They're so much part of your life. So you do
Yeah.
still, are you still able to practice in these circumstances?
You mean acupuncture?
No,
I
I mean, do you still
reconnective healing.
facilitate reconnective healing?
I do distance sessions, and
Yeah.
I just did my first personal reconnection a couple weekends ago, and the office that I was renting space from closed, but in my house on the ground level, because I live on a 3-level house, the ground level when you walk in at the back of the hallway is a guest suite with a bedroom and bathroom. So I was able to kind of convert that to I put my table up there, had the person
Wow,
come to
you
my
made your
house, they
own
went right
practice
into.
there.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
perfect. I
I will
like
make
totally.
sure to put the link for people who are from your area into the YouTube box somewhere. I'm still figuring it all
Yeah, yeah,
out.
yeah.
But if
Okay,
they
sure.
are from your area, they can contact you, and because they might
Yeah.
feel a strong connection to you. I didn't even know you had the background as a nurse and an acupuncturist, and then all these different modalities. Reconnective healing is sort of not considered a traditional, energy healing modality. We sort of like to consider it something else, as said
Yeah. Hmm.
of Eric Pearl, his parents used to say to him, "You are something else." And this was not what they meant, but we like to say, "Yeah, this is truly something else." And like
Right.
you said, when you are in a training program, that's when you do feel, yeah, this truly is something else. And
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah.
it's sometimes so difficult to find the words to describe it, but the experience is so much more meaningful. Um, Barbara, you are also part of the Reconnective Life community. And could you share a little bit about that? Because I feel you're very enthusiastic about it.
Yes, I am. It's a great community, and it's something that apparently Jillian and Anna Clavel have been working on for a number of years. And, again, it's just so interesting how things happen and come together at the perfect time. But finding a community, a forum for reconnective healing, if you're a practitioner or just a novice, it's a way to connect up with other people who are playing with the frequencies. And let me just mention, I don't do acupuncture anymore. I'm still licensed, but I really just do reconnective healing because it's so much better. Oh yeah, I might, talk to people about poking and acupoint, but with the frequencies, the frequencies know it all. They know where to go, what to do. I don't have to even, think about it because the intelligence is just
There's
so.
nothing wrong with acupuncture. This is just a
Oh,
choice that you made
right.
for
You're right.
yourself.
You're right. And
Yeah.
it's easier for me to do distance sessions. We don't have to have that closeness. Although, again, if somebody wants to come to have a personal reconnection, they had their mask on. I had them point out all the landmarks, and we can do it. The guest room has a window, we can open it. I've got an air filter, everything's perfect. There's a bathroom there. They can just totally have their own space for 2 days.
I work like that nowadays, and we keep everything very clean. I wear my mask and everything is, extra hygiene protocol, and
Right.
my practice
Yeah.
allows for a separate toilet there, and it works. It works.
Right. Yes.
Um,
Yes. But getting back to the Reconnective Healing community, it is a great place to hook up with other people who are involved with Reconnective Healing. We post a number of different videos. There are Dr. Eric and Jillian do all sorts of sessions where you can communicate with them, ask them questions, watch things on Zoom. Some of the lectures they do on different topics. They have Q&As where you can just go in and ask questions. They have once a month, they do what they call mini retreats where everybody comes together. And last time we had breakout sessions where people kind of connected up and did some exercises. It's just a nice way, especially since a lot of people still are somewhat limited in their mobility, to connect online. I think they're looking for another venue to be able to, I think they're trying to hook it up more to their website, but I don't know all the technical details. What I do know though is that it's a great safe place for people to come, ask questions, post videos, post photos, talk about their feelings of
so
reconnective
it's
healing.
all on Facebook and then
Yes.
on Zoom.
Yes.
And can we will put some links also in this YouTube, and when we post about, when we post this interview some places, so that people can find the community if they are interested, of course.
Yeah. It's a subscription community, but the price is very reasonable, and I think people, just from the feedback I've heard, I think everybody finds it extremely valuable. And again, just because of these kind of chaotic times, having a place that it's almost an oasis where you can go and feel centered and feel loved and feel accepted and feel safe, and just kind of be reminded to play in the frequencies, because like you're saying, it's really a way of life. And that helps to promote that. It helps to get the word out about it. I think that's probably the main reason that they wanted to create this community, to help people realize it is a community. It is an everyday thing that we can just that could be available 24/7. You can get a lot of the access to some of the old videos and some of the old talks and some of the different things that have been going on for 20 some years and 20 plus years. So it's a nice way to just really be able to totally immerse yourself in reconnective healing.
It's very
And
important to stay connected in these
Mhm.
times. You might, sometimes feel, because it is difficult to travel to events, and they are
Mhm.
limited. And they're, for us in the Netherlands, we are limited in what we can do, in the amount of
Mhm.
numbers we can have. We are actually going back into a sort of a lockdown. This is October 2020. Um, so yeah, online is the
Yeah,
way to go. And
it
I
is.
had definitely some resistance in myself that this period helped me to overcome. So I see that there are some true blessings there also in this time. This is just a perspective. We can focus on all the bad things that it's brought, but it has also connected us in different ways.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, yeah. And I feel so blessed again to be able to have been connected with you and the community, and it's made such a difference in my life. And it has helped me not only weather this whole unstable period, but do so much internal growth and find so much more of that peace and understand, the understanding of where it's coming from and how it works and why and all that. And then these great meditations that are available online. It's like, oh my gosh. Just the other day I was listening to one that was called The Language of Reconnective Healing. And then on Wednesday, Dr. Eric and Jillian did one on the nature of energy, light, and information. And I had kind of wondered about, what's the difference between those three, or are they inseparable? And they kind of mesh, and they're slightly different, slightly the same, but it was very powerful. So being able
Yeah,
to
and
access
and
them.
they both Eric and Jillian have such a great way of explaining things.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gifts. I remember with I've been to so many events traveling with them for so many years, but the way they manage to explain difficult topics,
Hmm.
that just amazed me every single time. Um, that's truly something that they have mastered, the skill they have mastered.
Right.
And yeah, I still use examples they have brought up with my clients when they're asking me, how does this work? And the first
Right.
thing I always say is, well, I don't know,
Hmm.
but and then an explanation comes. But that
Right.
might be a little bit too much to share in this interview. Um,
Right.
for people watching, Barbara, um, from your own experience, is there something you want to share with them from your heart? What reconnective healing has taught you in your life experience, and you want to share with them? I'm dropping this on you, so this is sort of a surprise. So,
Right. There's actually a lot of things, but I guess the main thing is we all deserve to be happy. There's no reason that we don't have to be happy, that the frequencies bring us and can bring us to places that allow us to really experience joy and love and the sense of wholeness, of oneness with all humanity that is huge. The feelings of joy and love are very personal, and they're kind of for our finite mind, the now. But the feeling of connectedness with all that is something that just helps me feel so expanded, so big, that it helps me actually also realized, you know, the saying, don't sweat the small stuff. That's so true. And it helps me keep that in perspective, which in turn makes life so much better and that joy so much easier to access. So, and that ripples out, you know, for a long time, yeah, I've been in the healing field for a long time, and it's because I want to help people feel better.
Yeah.
But I realize that all that comes from within. And when I'm feeling good, it goes out and it really does help everybody else. So, you know, it's kind of like a win-win.
Definitely, definitely. Oh, that is beautifully spoken. Thank you so much for that wisdom.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's just what it is all about, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, I don't even know how long we have spoken now, but you have
Oh,
definitely shined your light and given a beautiful message for our listeners, our viewers.
yes.
So anyway, Barbara, thank you so much for being here. And I loved you for taking the time to have this interview. Is there anything you want to say?
Gosh, I think we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, one other thing that just popped into my head earlier when you were talking about Dr. Eric and Jillian and how nice they explain things. I love the way they complement each other. Eric is like, "Bzz," and Jillian kind of like, you know, there's kind of a little bit of a larger, almost circle around the subject, but they together they have just a nice way, like you say, of explaining things, and I find that very easy to follow.